The old woman was weaving something in her room. She wasn't making mats or blankets. She was making a dream catcher. Every night she would hang it by the window so that when the wind blew through, the dream catcher would move slightly and make the moonlight shining through the window look like flowing silver liquid. And every time she made a dream catcher, the old woman hoped that one day some child would come along and ask her how she makes these beautiful things, and then she could teach them and they would continue to make dream catchers after she died. One evening, an old woman was weaving a new dream catcher, when all of a sudden the door opened and in came a little girl. The girl was barefoot and her hair was tangled and matted, and she had dirt on her nose and cheeks. The girl looked at the dream catcher the old woman was making and asked, "What are you making?" The old woman smiled. This was exactly what she'd been waiting for. So she stopped weaving and said, "I'm making a dream catcher. Would you like me to teach you how to make one?" The little girl nodded excitedly. So the old woman gave her a piece of wood and some string and some feathers, and began teaching her how to make a dream catcher. When they were done, the little girl looked at the dream catcher she made and smiled. Then she hung it by the window and went outside to play. The old woman sat there watching her play until it got dark. Then she went to bed and went to sleep. In her dreams, she saw the little girl playing happily in a field of flowers. Then she heard a voice saying, "Thank you for sharing your gift with me. I will keep it safe and make sure it is passed down to others, so the beauty will never end." When the old woman woke up, she knew that this little girl wasn't just any child. She was a magical spirit who takes part of our souls when we die. It was such a beautiful thing to be chosen to pass on her gift to this magical being. The next morning, the old woman got up early and started making a special dream catcher. She put more time and care into this one than she usually did. She wanted it to be perfect. When the sun was high in the sky, she went outside and waited for the little girl to come back. The little girl returned, and when she saw the dream catcher, she gasped. "Did you make this for me?" she asked. The old woman nodded and handed it to her. The little girl looked at it for a moment and then said, "Thank you. I will take good care of it." And with that, she flew away. The old woman smiled and continued weaving her dream catchers until one day she was too old and sick to do it anymore. She called all the children from the village over and taught them how to make dream catchers. Then she gave each of them a piece of wood and some string and some feathers, and told them to go out into the forest and make their very own dream catcher. She promised to return in 100 years to see if they remembered what she had taught them, and then she closed her eyes forever. When she died, the villagers buried her under her favorite tree, and every night the spirits of the children would visit her grave and weave dream catchers around it. After 100 years, the old woman opened her eyes and found herself in the most beautiful garden she had ever seen. There were flowers everywhere, and the air was filled with the sound of birds singing and the smell of honey and sweetgrass. She saw all the children from the village there, and they were all smiling and waving at her. "You came back," they shouted. Then they all ran to her and hugged her and told her how much they loved her. They showed her all the beautiful dream catchers they had made, and they told her how they had passed on the gift to the next generation. Then one of the children said, "We have a present for you." They led her to a beautiful house made of wood and stone, and inside, everything was made of wood and stone, except for a single feather hanging from the ceiling. The old woman recognized it instantly. It was the very first feather she had used to teach the children how to make dream catchers. "You kept it all these years?" she asked in amazement. "Of course," said the child. "It's the most precious thing we have." The old woman was so happy to see that the gift she had shared with the world had lasted for so long. She felt a deep sense of peace and contentment knowing that she had made a difference in the world during her lifetime. In that moment, she understood that the true meaning of life was not about accumulating material possessions or achieving fame and fortune, but rather about sharing one's gifts with others and making a positive impact on the world. As the old woman spent more time with the children, she realized that the gift of dream catching had become an integral part of their culture. The children told her that every night before going to bed, they would gather around their dream catchers and tell stories and dreams, while the soothing sounds of crickets and owls filled the air. The dream catchers served as a reminder of the interconnectedness of all living things and the importance of honoring the natural world. Each feather, bead, and strand of yarn represented a story, a memory, a lesson, or a piece of wisdom that had been passed down from one generation to the next. The old woman was filled with gratitude for the opportunity she had been given to share her gift with the world. She knew that the legacy of dream catching would live on long after she was gone. In fact, she could feel its presence all around her in the laughter of the children, the warmth of the community, and the beauty of the natural world. The old woman's heart swelled with love and appreciation for all the children who had gathered in the village. She knew that they were the future of dream catching, and that it was in their hands to keep the tradition alive. With a deep sense of hope and optimism, the old woman embraced the children and wished them a lifetime of happiness and wonder. She knew that they would continue to pass on the gift of dream catching for generations to come. And so the story of the old woman and the magical dream catchers continued to be told and retold in the village, reminding everyone listened of the importance of sharing one's gifts with the world and honoring the natural world around them. The old woman may have passed away, but her legacy lived on in the hearts and minds of the children and in the beautiful dream catchers that adorned their homes.